News Where You Live with Eric Phillips. Today starting at 4. Live with the News Where You Live. 8 News starts now.
This morning, parts of Petersburg underwater after another round of heavy rain. Thanks for joining us for 8 News at 9. I'm Autumn Childress.
And I'm Delaney Hall. We know Petersburg Summer Academy is canceled today because of that severe flooding. Employees will work remotely. We have team coverage for you out of Petersburg as we brace for more rain in this forecast. Meteorologist Jessica Kirk and Jacqueline Waters are on standby covering real-time conditions. We'll get to them soon.
But first, 8 News reporter Ben Walls is live in Petersburg. So Ben, you've been there all morning. What are you seeing there?
Well, that's right. We've been here all morning giving updates, including here on some of the roads, and one of the roads still closed after all this rain that came through last night and in the early morning hours is here at East Bank Street near North Madison. And though the floodwaters behind me have since receded since we last checked in on you all, it was a much different story last night and in the early morning hours today. So much so that we've seen early morning commutes change on East Wythe Street, a vehicle stuck in the water on Bolingbrook Street, and even people's apartments and buildings being flooded as well on West Bank Street. One renter there tells me she's shell-shocked over the last 12 hours or so. And another former restaurant owner tells me last night in particular was much worse than how Hurricane Isabel hit Petersburg back in 2003. And in addition to all these other issues, the Petersburg Fire Department responded to a couple water rescues last night, and we're still waiting to hear details on those rescues specifically. Reporting live in Petersburg, I'm Ben Walls, 8 News.
All right, Ben, thanks. So we know, Jess, you guys have been tracking these for a couple days now.
Yes, and we have a couple more days coming up. So any one of us could be in this location that gets 2, 3, last night some areas saw 8 or 9 inches of estimated rainfall. So obviously that's going to pose problems to potentially some of those lower lying areas, whether that be unfortunately your home, your backyard, roadways. We do have a beautiful view over the city right now. Temperature's still at 75. It's still pretty overcast. We'll see if we reach the mid 80s. I'm going mid to upper 80s. If we can't get rid of any of these clouds, we may end up staying on the cooler side. We're taking a break from the rain for the time being, but we do still have some of those flood warnings on the board, including but not limited to Petersburg. And you notice that all of us are still under that light green color, which is a flood watch, because we have more chances to be put in these flood warnings and be dealing with more rainfall. This is a look at some estimates over the last 24 hours alone, and this is the 8 to 9 inches that I was talking about. Petersburg area specifically looking at somewhere between 4 and 5 inches of rain. But when all the water pools up in one location, you'll get over a foot to 18 inches of water standing in one location. That's why a lot of the roads are closed, because that's impassable for vehicles. And guess what? We have more rain coming later this afternoon that's going to add to those rainfall totals. Speaking of the roads, Jackie, what do we have going on out there for those leaving for their commute?
We have dozens of roads that are currently closed. I just wanted to start with this. I know I've been talking a lot about it this morning, but it's really important to remember today and the next several days with more rain in the forecast, that turn around, don't drown saying, because it really doesn't take a whole lot of water to sweep away a car. Only 12 inches of flood water to sweep away your car. So that is something to keep in mind. You never know how deep that water is when you're driving through it. We do still have currently exit 52 closed on I-95 due to standing water. You can see they are still off in the exit there. Further to the north, we have another issue that is currently closing all eastbound lanes on US 60. This is near Five Lakes subdivision. And then we have a few crashes. We have a new crash on Westwood Avenue. We have some congestion in the downtown Richmond area, and also a crash on North Belvedere Street headed southbound near West Marshall Street. So definitely give yourself extra time when you're headed out. Back over to you, Autumn and Delaney.
All right, Jackie, thanks. Well, the rainstorms and flooding are causing concern about damaged trees in Richmond.
City Council member Kenya Gibson says 2 city-owned trees in District 3 fell on homes in Rosedale because of the rain. She says the Department of Public Works will remove a tree if it's dead, dying, or diseased to the point it's a safety issue, or if it has structural effects that could pose a threat to public safety. Now, if you're worried about a tree in your area, reach out to RVA 311. 3rd District residents are also encouraged to reach out to Gibson directly.
And this morning we are of outages, including in Chesterfield. Richmond, Petersburg, New Kent, and Henrico County. If you don't have power, you can report it on Dominion Energy's website or call them directly. And remember, when your power is out, we are still on. Be sure to download the 8 News app or follow us on social media for the latest.
Well, new details this morning. Newport News' Swiftwater Rescue Team is in Kerr County, Texas, after more rain hit the region. Crews left on Saturday and say they're prepared to handle 20 inches of water. Crews tell us water that was already searched will now have to be searched again.
It takes days, weeks to actually search through all those debris piles to make sure that they're clear. And then if you can imagine with that surge and weather and rain, it disrupts those piles, moves them. And so areas that they have previously conducted and searched, a lot of times they have to go through and they have to ultimately research those areas.
Now, the fire chief says he's proud of the men and women on his team who are bringing closure to families.
And we're also learning more about the evacuation timeline at Camp Mystic in Kerr County. As you know, the camp was devastated by flooding, leaving 27 campers and counselors dead. Executive Director Dick Eastland started evacuations around 2 a.m. That's 45 minutes after he received an alert from the National Weather Service. He died trying to help campers. A family spokesperson says Eastland got the initial alert around 1:14 on July 4th. Officials say he tried to figure out how to let campers know without electronics. He then started using a walkie-talkie to talk to his family members about his plans. By 2, campers were moving to higher ground, not knowing how serious the flooding would get. A more dire alert from the National Weather Service came just after 4.
The latest this morning out of Henrico, a toddler is dead after she drowned in a pool on Saturday night. It marks the 6th child under 5 to drown in Virginia this year. Police and fire crews say they got the call around 8:40 Saturday night at a home on Sukla Court. That girl was pulled from the pool and officials tried to revive her. She died on the scene. No other details have been released.
In Richmond now, police are investigating after a man was found dead on Hull Street near West Commerce Road around 1:35 yesterday afternoon. We know the medical examiner is working to determine the exact cause of death. His identity has not been released. If you have any additional details, you're asked to report them. Also in Richmond this morning, a man is recovering after police say he was shot on Hull Street on Saturday night. That shooting happened around 6:45. The man was taken to the hospital but is expected to survive. No suspect information has been released, but stay with 8 News for the latest.
Well, Henrico police have identified the man hit and killed by an Amtrak passenger train last week as Joshua Wolf. Wolf was reportedly on the tracks near John Cussins Drive and Allen's Crossing when he was hit around 5:30 last Thursday. He died on the scene. Officials are investigating, but if you have any additional details, you're asked to call police. Well, the Powhatan Sheriff's deputies, they need your help identifying this person who's accused of trespassing and assaulting an employee at Independence Golf Club last Wednesday. This footage is from surveillance cameras there. And the timestamp on the video says the suspect was there around 1:30. It's unclear when the assault happened. If you know who this person is, you're asked to contact Powhatan Sheriff's deputies.
And now to a health alert. Hopewell officials say a swim advisory is still in effect for parts of the James River after 1 million gallons of sewage leaked into the river last Friday. You should avoid Gravely Run Creek, Tar Bay, Old City Point waterfront, and Berkeley Plantation. The leak has been fully contained and the plant is working normally. Hopewell says it's best to stay out of the water for now.
As long as the plant stays online and is functioning properly, we're looking to lift the advisory Friday afternoon. That will allow time for the influx of water from the various weather events we've had over the last couple of days and will continue to have this week to dilute the sewage that was introduced.
The leak, it's expected to be repaired by Friday.
Well, officials in Powhatan County are split over the partial demolition of the Pocahontas Landmark Center. The Board of Supervisors is pushing to take over the land, but the school board is resisting. Now, that center was previously a school and a symbol of Powhatan Schools integration before closing in 2018. The Board of Supervisors chairman says the board wants to renovate the building for community use, but to do that, the school board would have to agree to give supervisors control of the property, something 3 of the 5 school board members have not agreed to do.
We could save a tremendous amount of money for the taxpayers. We're not just looking at the schools like they do, and they do a great job, but we're trying to make decisions for the entire community, not just the schools.
A demolition was scheduled to start yesterday, but was postponed because of permitting issues.
Well, happening today, the Virginia Office of the State Inspector General is holding its first public stakeholder meeting for the Corrections Ombudsman Unit. It comes after Virginia lawmakers pushed for legislation giving them the power to subpoena the Virginia Department of Corrections for records that will share information with incarcerated people and others about their rights, inspect state facilities, and more. The meeting will discuss transparency in the state's prison system. It starts at 10 at the Patrick Henry Building in Richmond. And Diversity Richmond is holding a town hall today after a former employee claims she experienced racism and sexual harassment at work. You'll remember Danny Worthy Mays says the person who harassed her is still working at the store. Diversity Richmond says the town hall is, quote, rooted in accountability, belonging, and repair, and is the first in a series of community meetings. It starts at 6 at the store's event hall. Well, still ahead this morning, we are bringing you the latest on the investigation into the attempted assassination of the president. We'll have those details coming up next.
And the debate over the Epstein files, why the Justice Department and FBI are split over releasing more information. You're watching 8 News at 9. We cover the news where you live.
Taking a live look out on the city of Richmond on this Tuesday. We'll be right back.
News where you live with Autumn Childress. Weekdays on Good Morning Richmond.
Welcome back. New this morning, Republican lawmakers are pushing for legislation to commemorate the assassination attempt on President Donald Trump.
It's been a little over a year since the then candidate was shot in the ear in Butler, Pennsylvania. It prompted investigations into the Secret Service. This morning, GOP lawmakers want to honor Corey Kemperator, who was killed at the rally. They also want to condemn what they call an escalating pattern of violence against politicians.
We must stand up together to oppose violence against our nation's leaders all across each party.
And I think we do need protection, and we don't have any.
Democratic lawmakers are also in support of more protection.
This morning, the FBI says it will not release any more information about the Epstein case, but the Department of Justice disagrees. Here's Vinay Simlot with more.
The longer it lingers, the greater the imagination gets.
The Department of Justice says investigators pored over the Jeffrey Epstein case and found no client list and no evidence to open. And Kennedy says he understands why questions remain.
I think it's reasonable for the American people to ask who he sexed, trafficked these young women to.
Much of the criticism has centered around Attorney General Pam Bondi. In February, Bondi gave influencers binders labeled the Epstein Files Phase 1, but the documents were already largely public. Bondi also told Fox News the Epstein client list was on her desk for review, but last Tuesday,
it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well.
Over the weekend, President Donald Trump said Bondi is doing a fantastic job. Congressional Republicans agreed.
President Trump supports her. That's good enough for me.
But Democrats say Republican leaders fanned the flames of conspiracy theories surrounding the Epstein list for years.
And now the chickens are coming home to roost.
Well, coming up, it's not too late to get your summer garden started. We'll show you which veggies you can
get. More flooding across our area and how much.
There's a community conversation. There's community conversations with community conversations with community conversations with Plus. We bring that same commitment to creative, trustworthy journalism, and it's just another reason why we are Richmond's most trusted source for news online. Honored for regional Murrow Awards in both innovation and digital news, we're driving smarter content and now smarter streaming.
To start your summer garden.
Virginia Cooperative extends Virginia's planting zones. You can see we are amazing. So for people in Zone A, you can plant bush beans. carrots, Swiss, collards, kale, rutabagas, and summer squash with no issues right now. For 7B, try planting lima beans, carrots, cucumbers, okra, peas, summer squash, and sweet corn.
And this morning, an expert is breaking down how heat impacts our mood. Dr. Susan Albers is a psychologist at Cleveland Clinic and says there's a rise in ER visits, aggression, and violence during heat waves. Heat can also impact your sleep and make you more impatient and irritable the next day. A good way to keep cool is to plan ahead.
Plan activities around the heat. Do workouts, have difficult conversations, go on errands in the morning or the early evening. This is going to conserve your energy and take advantage of the coolest parts of the day so that you don't get overheated and to keep your mood regulated.
She also says to stay hydrated. Dehydration can impact your mood.
Window World of Richmond is proud to sponsor Viper Real-Time Radar on Richmond's most accurate.
All right, 9:20. You're tracking the wettest July on record, Jessica.
Potentially. Probably not the wettest overall, but we might get close considering we're only halfway through the month and we're about to make it on a top 10 list, right? So far, and I just want to preface, this is for Richmond, a Richmond area. So I'm pretty sure that the Tri-Cities area broke a rainfall record yesterday. So I just want to reemphasize this is only for Richmond itself. And we're at 9.38 inches so far. And the 10th one on the list is at the bottom there, 9.92 inches, number 10 on this list. So the likelihood, number 10 on this list. So the likelihood, especially considering I'm about to the middle, is especially considering I'm about to tell you that we have plenty more rain over the coming days as this pattern continues. We're looking at temperatures in the mid-70s out there. I do believe we're going to see some clearing, some temperatures in the mid to upper 80s as we are seeing a rain chances later this afternoon. Clouds chances later this afternoon. Clouds today, so mostly sunny skies. Clouds today, so mostly sunny skies. And although I'm not mostly sunny skies, and although I'm not for sure, because we're expecting to see these isolated heavy downpours every single day over the coming days, and this afternoon is no exception. Check this out. Going into this afternoon, 2 to 3 p.m., there's those pop-up showers, storms, downpours. Some of the storms could be strong, so some gusty winds aren't out of the picture. And then heading into this evening, we're looking at a scattered picture of those showers and storms. Overnight, I can't rule out some of this rain lingering like we've seen it a couple of times. I'm going with showers and maybe an isolated storm from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. and then looking to wake up dry tomorrow morning with partly to mostly cloudy skies again. And tomorrow afternoon, that's going to be your Wednesday, we've got another chance to see downpours and storms, maybe a little bit more isolated in nature, but more downpours nonetheless. Any one of us coming days. We've got scattered storms maybe today and tomorrow. We've got isolated storms maybe today and tomorrow. We've got isolated rain chances there going into Thursday, Friday, potentially higher rain chances for Saturday and Sunday as well. That's why we have this flood watch. Our flood watch is expected to be in place till tonight, but let me tell you, I will not be surprised one bit if the National Weather Service extends that. What with our forecast for the next couple of days, which is the daily, afternoon, and evening rain and storms. And one of the worst impacts we've seen and will continue to see are those roadways. Jackie, how are things looking right now?
Things are starting to clear up for many of us. That doesn't mean you won't drive through any ponding on the roadways. Still means be very safe out there, try to be extra cautious, but we are starting to see a lot more of those roads clear up, those crashes, but also just the roads that were closed earlier. I am seeing some of that clear out. We do have a crash on North Belvedere Street headed southbound near West Marshall Street. I was noticing delays earlier, but at the moment, not really seeing any of those delays. Now for the evening commute home, we'll be dealing with scattered wet roads once again. So many of us will need those windshield wipers and those headlights on, and you will need to be extra cautious for that evening commute as well. The Chaco Valley Bridge really looking not too bad out there. No delays there, 95-64 downtown. Also looking nice and smooth. Time right now is 9:24. We'll be back on the other side of the break.
Welcome back at 9:26 on this Tuesday. Looking okay near Shore Pump. We know we've got, what Jeff's talking about earlier, more rain. We'll check in with her in just a few minutes.
All right, in your Positively Richmond this morning, thousands of Chesterfield students will get new books to read this summer during the Libro Tasso, the big book party. Students can choose up to 5 books available in several languages and Braille. Tonight's event is at the Chesterfield County Fairgrounds from 5 to 8. Families are asked to register in advance. You can find that link on our website, WRIC.com.
And a new cafe is now open near the Allianz Amphitheater. It's called Daisy's at Tredegar. Chef and owner Matt Kerwin says Newmarket Corporation, the company behind the amphitheater, asked him and chef Raleigh Easley to start it. Here's a sneak peek at what you can eat if you head down there.
Yeah, we're gonna have a really exciting cocktail, beer, and wine list, but food-wise, the breakfast burrito is a must-try. As far as lunch menu goes, the mortadella on focaccia sandwich is one of my favorites. And I'm originally from New York, so I love a good chicken cutlet Italian sandwich. So those would be my 2 favorite on the lunch menu.
Daisy's offers breakfast and lunch Monday to Friday from 7:30 to 3 and brunch on Sundays from 9 to 2:30. We have the full story on our website, WRIC.com. A nice option there.
So much traffic around the... Not a bad idea. So much traffic around the... Not a bad idea.
All right, still ahead. We are...
Not a bad idea.
All right, still ahead. We are continuing to track flooding.
We are hearing from an expert on a DMV scam targeting for...
What does it take to be the most watched newscast in America? Newscast in America.
We are part of an operation.
Is this our combat operations center?
Militants came in from different directions. Nuclear reactor. So we have a couple loaded and ready to go. We've got a home right here engulfed in flames. The scene here, apocalyptic. How important it made the USA. Great work.
Hi. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Ismail? David. I'm David Muir.
I know who you are.
You
Watch
do?
you every night.
ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast.
I'm Nolan Knight. Join me for 8 Sports Nightcap, a weekly roundup of everything that you missed on WRICnow.com.
Celebrate the endless summer of pride. Find events all summer long at WRIC.com. Live with the news where you live. 8 News starts now.
Places that did not flood are now flooding. So places that are prone to flooding, it could be catastrophic. So something needs to be done.
Concerns in Chesterfield County after areas that don't normally flood are hit with flash floods over the weekend. This morning, that concern now stretching to Petersburg after several water rescues and an apartment building evacuation because of high water. Thanks for joining us for 8 News at 9. I'm Delaney Hall.
And I'm Autumn Childress. 8 News reporter Ben Walls has been in Petersburg all morning. He joins us now with what he's seeing there. Ben.
Well, that's right. There's been several roads that have been closed because of the downfall that we saw last night and early this morning, including here at East Bank Street near North Madison. I'll step out of the way where floodwaters have eventually receded, but it was a much different story last night and in the early morning hours where we saw the water just puddle here and poses a danger for drivers. That's why several roads are closed. So much so that we've seen morning commutes change on East Wythe Street, a vehicle stuck in the water on Bolingbrook Street, and even people's apartments and buildings being flooded as well on West Bank Street. And one renter there tells me she's shell-shocked over the last 12 hours or so. Another former restaurant owner tells me last night in particular was much worse than how Hurricane Isabel hit Petersburg back in 2003. In addition to all the other issues, the Petersburg Fire Department did respond to my understanding, a couple water rescues last night, and we're still waiting to hear information on how exactly that happened last night, and we're still waiting for those details. Reporting live in Petersburg, I'm Ben Walls, 8 News.
All right, Ben, thanks for that report. We have Jacqueline Waters tracking our morning commute, and of course, Jessica Kirk tracking our forecast. Jess, any relief in sight for us?
Definitely not. I mean, the rain, I'm not going to guarantee it's going to fall right where it did last night, but we have more rain chances coming up later this afternoon. We're taking a break right now. Temperatures are on the rise. We're now at 77, but you'll notice the clouds are not going anywhere. I'm still holding to a little bit of clearing later that could make way for us to reach the upper 80s, but I don't think we're going to get any warmer than that. And notice that we still have a flood watch for everyone here. That is currently set until midnight tonight, but it's likely going to be extended because we have more rain chances coming up over the next few days. We also still have some flood warnings where some of that water buildup is the greatest. And Jackie and I are continuing to get reports of multiple smaller local roads that are still covered with water. So please make sure you're driving carefully. Even though we're not seeing rain right now, rain chance is going back up here in just a couple of hours. I'm still targeting the best chance to be the afternoon and evening. That same trend that we've been seeing for days, maybe 2 weeks now. So you might have a break to be outside until 2. Then we'll be watching at those thunderstorms continuing to pop up and maybe become more scattered in nature through this afternoon and evening. And then we're going to watch those rainfall totals continuing to grow. Jackie, what's the latest on the road conditions out there?
We do still have several roads that are still closed, but a lot of those, as I mentioned earlier, are starting to clear out. But we do still have many roads really in the Dinwiddie area and also Petersburg that are still closed. So all northbound, all southbound lanes closed on US Highway 1 right near Cox Road. That's due to standing water. We also still have that exit ramp I've been talking about all morning long since 4:30 this morning. That is still closed. It's the exit 52 off of I-95. That's due to standing water, and you could see the cars still in the exit ramp there. We also still have all eastbound lanes closed. It's not saying exactly, so I will take more rain on the way, and you don't want to drive through any flood. More rain on the way, and you don't want to drive through any floodwaters. Stay safe out. And more rain on the way, and you don't rain on the way, and you don't want to drive through any floodwaters. Stay safe out there. Back over to you, Delaney and Autumn.
All right, Jackie, thanks. The latest out of Henrico, a man is in the hospital and another is in custody after a fight inside a business yesterday.
Police say it happened around 6 last night on 9 Mile Road. Police say a man fired a gun during the fight. No one was shot, but one man was taken to the hospital. He is expected to be okay. Police have not released the name of the suspect or any charges. Stay with 8 News for the latest.
Well, a crime alert this morning. Chesterfield police need your help identifying a person involved in a credit card fraud case. Police say the person here on your screen walked into the Walmart on Chattanooga Plaza on April 9th and bought several items with a Walmart Visa card. That card was opened in another person's name without their knowledge. Now, if you have any information, you're asked to reach out to police. And this morning, we're hearing from an expert about some popular scams targeting Virginians. He says scammers use the same tactics to steal your money, like making you feel scared or rushing you to give them information. One of the most popular tricks right now is to pose as the DMV.
They're going to suspend your vehicle registration starting today. They're going to suspend your driver's privileges for to charge you 35% service fee. To charge you 35% service fees. They're going to prosecute you and mess up your credit score. The DMV doesn't even enforce traffic tickets. That's not their lane.
Now remember, if an email, text, or call feels off, it probably is. It's best to contact agencies directly if you have any questions.
In Hanover County now, the water main break near Ash Creek has been isolated and water pressure is being restored. If you live in Ash Creek, Foxhead, Milestone, or King's Charter, you may experience low pressure while those repairs are finished. A boil water advisory is not in place. Stay with 8 News for the latest. And now to Richmond. The city launched harm reduction vending machines as part of its new Office of Opioid and Substance Use Response. Those machines offer free resources like naloxone, fentanyl test strips, and personal hygiene items. The machines are open 24/7. They include QR codes to help people access recovery and support services. You can find the machines at Marshall Plaza and Southside Plaza. A third one will be installed at East End Library later this month. And out of your Capital Connection this morning, a new state report finds some school divisions are incorrectly using a 2022 state law as justification for removing books from school libraries.
The report found that the law has nothing to do with removing books from school libraries. Instead, JLARC says the law in question requires school divisions to notify parents if instructional materials contain sexually explicit content and allow parents to request alternative options for their individual student.
This is an interesting circumstance where there's a law in place that has been used, but the law was never really intended for that use in the first place.
It's important to note the report does say that school divisions still have a broad authority to remove books they deem inappropriate.
Well, this morning, ICE agents are under fire after some Democratic lawmakers say officers are not properly identifying themselves before making arrests. Under federal regulations, immigration officers must identify themselves, quote, as soon as it is practical and safe to do so. Some Democrats say agents are wearing masks and street clothes. Meanwhile, Republicans say those agents are being assaulted and threatened, so masks are a safe.
Latest version of for new construction projects. Latest version of for new construction projects in Hamdale. For new construction projects in Hamdale. For new construction projects in Naval Station and money for housing for single service members at Naval Station Norfolk. Kane says he's glad to see common ground with the Trump administration on defense dollars.
I do appreciate the priority that the Trump administration is paying to this. On the ship and subbuilding side, they view this as very, very important.
Now, another part of the plan is $24 million for child development centers at both Naval Station Norfolk and Joint Base Little Creek Fort Story.
Well, now to a plan to make ice cream healthier. One government official is calling it a renaissance moment for health here in America. Here's ABC's Andrew Dimbert.
This morning, a shift from America's ice cream industry. Dozens of companies now promising to ditch artificial dyes. A group which makes up 90% of the U.S. ice cream market says that colors like red 40, blue 1, and yellow 5 will be gone by the year 2028. The move is part of Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s Make America Healthy Again initiative.
We now have about 35% of American food industry that has made commitments.
Kennedy has already gotten voluntary commitments to ditch artificial dyes from big names like Kraft Heinz, PepsiCo, and General Mills. The banning of some synthetic dyes has drawn bipartisan support. Earlier this year, in one of its final acts, the Biden administration banning red dye 3, something Europe did more than 30 years ago.
This is about showing consumers and our communities that we are stepping up. As ice cream makers, we want to ensure families continue to enjoy their favorite wholesome ice cream treat.
But not everyone is on board with the changes. Candy companies, including the makers of M&Ms, are resisting. The company insists the artificial dyes in its products are safe to eat and claims natural dyes are too expensive and don't deliver the same look or taste. Still, the Food and Drug Administration is moving quickly to approve new natural dyes. Yesterday, the agency approving a new blue dye made from gardenia fruit. It's the fourth natural food dye approved since April. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
Still ahead this morning, she's been missing for 30 years, but a new Netflix documentary is keeping her case alive. We'll have details on Amy Lynn Bradley coming up next.
And a new documentary all about Oscar-winning actor Marlee Matlin. What we know about the new film.
You're watching 8 News at 9. We cover the news where you live.
On this Tuesday morning, it's 9:41. We'll be right back.
News where you live with Autumn Childress. Weekdays on Good Morning Richmond.
Time right now is 9:43. Very cloudy, but look, we got a little bit of blue sky out there over the city. A little bit of clearing could lead the way to some warmer temperatures. Potentially the upper 80s this afternoon, but we still have rain later. Don't let it fool you. Autumn and Delaney.
Jess, thanks. Well, new details this morning. A Netflix documentary is shining light on the case of a missing woman from here in Central Virginia.
Her name is Amy Lynn Bradley. She went missing nearly 30 years ago on a Caribbean cruise. The documentary focuses on her childhood in Petersburg and Chesterfield. It will feature her closest friends and family, including her best friend and former college suite mate, Sarah Luck.
Our consensus is we wanted the world to know.
Luck says to air on Netflix tomorrow.
Marlee Matlin.
Luck says to air on Netflix. Luck says to air on Netflix tomorrow.
Marlee Matlin is an object of an eye-opening documentary. Marlee Matlin is an object of an eye-opening documentary.
The world got deaf woman. The world got deaf woman. Deaf woman. Director Shoshana Stern, who is also deaf, is excited to share Marlee's happy, sad, emotional, and triumphant story.
Not everyone can advocate like Marlee did and still does. And I think because Marlee happens to be very skilled and talented and she was thrust into advocacy, she's just good. She's just so good at that.
my story deserved someone who understood me as a deaf woman who could share the similar values and experiences that I've had, and we got each other. So I knew that she would tell the story the way that I wanted it to be told. We sat down, we had conversations, and there was no limits or barriers to what we wanted to talk about. No questions like gotcha questions or anything like that. It was all unscripted, all open book, honest, authentic.
Longtime friend Henry Winkler was a Marley fan from the beginning.
Her mom takes me aside and says to me, look, my daughter wants to be an actress. Tell her that it is so difficult, even if you can hear, that she should pursue something else. I said, you got the wrong guy.
In Los Angeles.
Shopping online? Shopping online, tariffs and a closed tax loophole are hitting our wallets. We'll tell you what to look out for because sometimes extra charges won't show up until your order arrives. Taking action, 8 News investigates now on WRIC.com.
Severe weather can happen at any time of year. When we get severe storms, we're the only one in this market that has Viper, so that we track storms quicker than anybody else. When severe weather happens, it's in 71 seconds. So we're showing you where the potential tornado is every minute. That's a big difference because minutes save lives.
8 Sports, the most exciting sports coverage on air and online.
Window World of Richmond is proud to sponsor Viper Real-Time Radar on Richmond's most accurate forecast. Now, your Storm Tracker 8 weather.
We still have a handful of showers out there, and flood watch, of course, but much has cleared from us here in Central Virginia. We will see a chance for showers and storms later this afternoon, ramping up potentially into this evening. We'll have another shot to see isolated instances of flooding every single day this week. So please make sure you're staying weather aware. Of course, we'll keep you updated here. And Chief Meteorologist Matt DiNardo will have the latest coming up here later this afternoon.
My goodness. Okay, just keep an eye out for all of that and download our app. That's actually it's pretty great. I know you hear us say download it, but really you should download it.
Have the rain boots too. And please stay safe out there. We'll see you next time. Have a great day, everybody.
8 News is streaming. Search WRIC+.